Hi, this is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. Hope you enjoyed this Game Industry Insight, a look behind the scenes at game development. And be sure to subscribe and you can pitch future video topics. Alright everybody, we got really good industry insight today. This is going to be discussing essentially the 3 bare minimum requirements you need as an indie developer when it comes to marketing yourself, or specifically building your online presence. This is going to be based on my post over at Game Wisdom, which you'll find a link down below. But there's a lot to go over here, and for those of you who are longtime fans of the site and channel, a lot of the stuff you've probably heard me repeat or talk about before. But it bears, I guess, consolidating all this down, and I'll tell you why once we're done, because there's a lot I want to talk about here. So, when it comes to being an indie game developer, the first thing that you need is, well, a website. And this is one of the things that really surprises me a lot about first-time developers and even those who are established, that they will either not have an established game site, or in some cases they may have a very basic site and then they don't do anything with it. It's just literally a placeholder on the internet. And this is the first big no-no. You need to have some place on the internet to call your own. Specifically, some place that you can build SEO, or search engine optimization. We talked about this a few weeks ago, but if you type Game Wisdom, Game-Wisdom, Josh Bycer, anything like that into Google, I am pretty much going to be the first 3 to 5 listings on any of that. And that's the point, because it means that I have good SEO. It's easy for someone to find me, which means it's easy for someone to get in touch with me about any kind of opportunity. As an indie developer, you want to make it as easy as possible for someone to find you online. And from my post, I mentioned this. When I say website, we can be talking about anything as simple as a WordPress or Blogger page to a completely customized website with embedded videos, graphics, the whole shebang. The point is you need to have something. Now, when we're talking about a full customized website, that takes time, and I certainly know that. But if you're just starting out, you should at least have some kind of basic site. Again, even just something from Blogger or WordPress, just so that people can start finding it. And more importantly, to start building your SEO, because that takes time. When I started writing for Game Wisdom, I didn't immediately pop up in search results. It took months and months of writing and building my presence and understanding good tagging and videos and all that in order to get to where I'm at now. But the point is, the earlier you start this, the better. And that's going to be one of the key lessons for today's industry insight. Now, in terms of what goes on the website, again, we could spend good 10-15 minutes on each part, but for a quick Cliff's Notes version, you should of course have videos about your game, descriptions about your game and your company, contact links, places where we can buy your game, and again, anything that involves if you have a forum or a community, something like that, you can have links to that as well. But again, we could spend some time on each one. Now, the second one is becoming more and more important, especially in terms of publicizing your game, and that is a YouTube account. The age of print is sadly on death's door, and it seems like it's dying a very slow death. People want video, as evident by what you're watching right now. And one of the best ways to show off a video game is to have video content. Be it a developer log, a Let's Play series, how-to, or even just you sitting here and talking about your game. It's important to have content available for people to watch, and that means you need a YouTube channel. Now, one of the key distinctions, though, is you're not becoming a YouTuber. If you're a game developer trying to build a game, this is not going to be your goal is not going to be to get 100,000 subscribers. Your goal is to have a place so that when you release your game, when you start making marketing efforts and buzz, that if someone types in the name of your game in on YouTube, your channel and your videos are going to be the first things they show up. If I type in the name of your game or the name of your company, your YouTube channel should be the first thing that I find. I shouldn't be finding a random YouTuber talking about your game. I should be finding you talking about your game, because you are hopefully going to be the best person to say why I should care about your title. And even if you have your own website and you're embedding the videos there, it's still good to have YouTube presence. Again, it's going to be another place to opt for you in the search engines. So going back to myself, again, you type in Josh Bycer or Game Wisdom, or even stuff like Critical Thought or Industry Insights, there's a good chance you're going to find either the website, the Twitch stream, YouTube channel, and even myself on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, that's the third point. The third thing that every indie developer needs in order to get started is some kind of social media account. Now, talking about the pros and cons, that is way beyond my expertise. I'm still trying to figure out things on my own. But it's important to have at least one place that you're dedicated to. This was a lesson that was taught to me by a friend of mine who does PR work and communications. Basically, you want to have at least one place that you are giving 100% to, so that you can figure things out and get on the best graces with it. And then once you figure that out, it'll be easier for you to go to another platform and another. But if you're doing, Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, and I'm sure there's even more out there all at the same time, it's going to be hard for you to figure out how best to approach it. But it's still very important to use social media, because this is a great way to get in touch with people, and as a great way to market your game. I see on Twitter all the time people's games getting cross-posted, or I make a post saying I would like to talk to someone about game design, and I get a few takers. In fact, we have a few podcasts probably planned in the next few weeks with people that I found strictly through using Twitter. But the point is, you need to have your presence known. Now, that's the first part of this industry insight, is the lesson from the posts. But I still have more to talk about, because it's important as a developer to understand why you need to do marketing. And this is why I'm going to be posting this video on one of the indie Facebook groups that I'm subscribed to. So, hello guys, thanks for watching. Because as we've talked about before, there's a stigma against marketing and PR, especially by people who view the game industry 100% on the artistic side. They're the people who say that marketing is evil. You are, selling out to the man. I don't care about making money when I make my games. Those kinds of thoughts. But the thing is, marketing is vital. And this goes to something that I was reading on Twitter. One of the developers that I follow, she was talking about how someone's saying, or how an indie developer who will remain anonymous said that he felt that marketing was cheating the system. No, that is definitely not it. And she said something that, or she made a tweet about this, that should basically be framed and turned into a monument that you can see from space. And that is this: Steam will not do your marketing for you. I'm going to repeat that. Steam will not do your marketing for you. It seems that, I know I'm repeating myself there, but there seems to be a lot of people who feel that Steam is the promised land. You get on Steam and all your problems will be gone, you're going to make millions of dollars, you can retire and all that. That is not the case, and this is why I wanted to make this post. Or make this video. Because you still need to do marketing as a developer. And this goes back to, again, another thing that I may get in trouble with, but like I've said many times before, when you ask a game designer, what does it take to be successful in this industry, they will most likely say something along the lines of, if you make a good enough game, it will sell. That, I'm afraid, is BS. What the ad should really be is, if you make a good enough game, it will continue to sell. Because if no one knows about your game to begin with, then no one's ever going to find you. And going back to Steam, a lot of developers, again, view Steam as, again, I guess, Xanadu, or some magical land where all their problems will go away. They think that once you're on Steam, That's it. You don't need to do marketing anymore. Steam will handle it for you. That is the furthest from the truth. And I got a little bit of an analogy that I came up with earlier that I think works here. Imagine a farmer's market, the biggest in your city, state, wherever you live. Everyone comes to this market because they know they're going to find the best deals and the highest quality product. So, as a farmer, you would want to get in here. But here's the thing. Just because you're in this market doesn't automatically mean your produce is going to sell. So, my question for you is this. If you're walking around a marketplace and you see a dingy little booth with, broken boxes with produce in it, a sign this big that says fresh oranges with oranges spelled wrong, would you stop and even consider buying something from that stand? Chances are most of you are going to say no. And that's the point. When you get into being an indie game developer, guess what? You're also going to be head of PR at your company. And like I said, there are people out there who hate doing this. And for anyone watching this who believes, again, that marketing is evil, you are cheating by using it, you're selling out, I'm afraid you're an idiot. Because, like I said, it doesn't matter how great your game is if no one knows about it or even wants to play it. And there's another big point that I want to talk about. When it comes to the video game industry, there's this misconception that games just appear out of nowhere. When you look at some of the big indie hits over the last few years, Darkest Dungeon, Stardew Valley, Gone Home, Firewatch, etc., a lot of people see it as one day the game wasn't available, next day it is, it's good so everyone bought it and now the game is successful. No. So much of what makes a game successful, most people will never even realize, much less comprehend. And this goes back to, again, one of my favorite adages, not being able to see the forest for the trees. Again, a lot of indie developers will look at a game like Darkest Dungeon and say, well, the game was really good, so that's why it sold. They didn't do anything else. No. Darkest Dungeon had over a year's worth of marketing put into it. Chris and Tyler from Red Hook, they had a YouTube channel. They made posts about it on dev sites. They put out trailer art and concept footage. They did a huge campaign for the Kickstarter. And they kept talking about following the Kickstarter into development. That's how I found about the Darkest Dungeon, and that's how a lot of people found themselves buying and pledging to it. And the Darkest Dungeon really is one of the few examples of a game that really just succeeded from beginning to end of its development thanks to their effective marketing campaign. But again, a lot of people will view the Darkest Dungeon as just popping into everyone's mind. But again, a lot of what goes into making a game successful happens outside of the game itself. It's about doing the marketing work. It's about having a presence online so that people will find you and people will start talking about you. And then word of mouth spreads. And I should not need to say this, but it needs to be said. Do not wait until the week before your game is out to start thinking about marketing. The 3 points I mentioned at the start, a website, a YouTube channel, and then some kind of social media presence, that should already be done. In fact, if you're watching this right now and you are working on an independent game and you don't have all 3 of those points done, stop what you're doing and start working on them. Because like I said at the start, this kind of stuff is not a miracle or a Hail Mary play. You're not going to create a website and then the next day have 100,000 subscribers. This is all about the slow burn. Like I said with Game Wisdom, right now, if you go on any one of the channels that I'm on or any of the social media, it links to everywhere else. I have a really good presence online because of that. Now, of course, I still have to get in touch with people. That goes without saying. But it's very easy to prove who I am and my credibility. Here's another point. no indie, this will never happen if you're an independent developer trying to get a publisher. Going up to someone and saying, "Hi, I need money to finish my game. I don't have a website, there's no videos about, and no one knows what it is. Can I have $500,000? It's not going to happen. You need to have a presence online in order to be able to market your game. And like I said, when it comes to successful games, it looks like nothing really happened. But so much of what succeeds means that you don't know that it worked. When we talked about designing gamepad UIs or control schemes, it's very much the same thing. If you design a great control scheme, no one's going to talk about it. But if your control scheme sucks, you bet everyone is going to mention it and complain to you about it. And as one final point, and this is the perfect example of why marketing works and why you need to do it. When I gave my presentation last week about kind of the first steps of what it means to get into the game industry, it was mainly with parents and teenagers. And I put up a list of big name indie games, including The Darkest Dungeon. And I said, does anyone know what these games are? And one teenage girl in the audience, the only one in the whole group, knew what The Darkest Dungeon was because she saw videos of it online. So, to Tyler and Chris from Red Hook, if you're watching this right now, I hereby give you a virtual fist bump for your marketing and PR campaign. But to wrap things up, like I said, you need to do marketing. For a lot of game developers, they view marketing as being this evil, something that's going to take away from making the game. But you have to understand that in order to be successful and call yourself a game designer, someone who can live off of their games, you have to do all the work. And to end this, and again I can keep saying to end this when I do these, but when I spoke with my friend Z from Serenity Forge, he said something very simple, but it holds up. There is as much business in the art as there is art in the business. And at the end of the day, someone has to do it. And like I always say, if for whatever reason you cannot handle the PR of your company, get someone who will. Because the sooner you start doing this, the more it's going to help out in the long run. And again, like I said, when it works, it may seem like you did nothing at all, or nothing important was ever achieved. But the best games and the ones that have succeeded have had marketing behind them all the way. And once again, Steam is not going to do your marketing for you. But with that said, we're going to wrap up today's industry insight. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more information, more thoughts on these three topics, you can find the post link below. And if you're new, be sure to like and subscribe, and maybe you can pitch a future topic for me to cover, especially when it comes to marketing your game. Because again, this is a multifaceted topic, and oh my goodness, I almost forgot one important part. Again, like I said, I always say we're done, but there's more to talk about. The whole reason for this post came from one of the groups that I was following. A new developer was posting about how they were having problems with their game. They just released it on Steam Early Access, and no one's buying it. And now they're nervous and depressed as hell over the fact that they're not sure they're going to get the money to keep going. So, and they were asking for help. So what I did was I decided to do this check of what we were just talking about. And guess what? They did not have a company site. They had a barely used YouTube channel with maybe like 30 views per video. They had no Twitter account. Even Googling their name or the video game's name turned up nothing. And there was just no information about this game other than, of course, on Steam. So again, that raises the question. If you don't do the work to make sure people know about your game, how are they going to find you? And with that, I'm going to end it here. So, be sure to tune in daily for more great discussions on game design here and on GameWisdom.com, where we examine the art and science of games. So until our next vlog, have a great night. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and of course share with your friends. It always helps out. For daily posts on all manner of game design and industry topics, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the site and everything that I do, be sure to check out the Patreon campaign. If we can hit goals, it will mean more content for everyone to enjoy, and I'll be able to support myself and my household. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at GW for updates throughout the day and random thoughts from me. And lastly, you can find me on Twitch right over there at GW for daily streams most nights around 10 Eastern. Thanks again for watching the video, and be sure to check out more great content coming to the Game Wisdom channel real soon.